Good morning, everyone. This is Paula Mattisonsierra from 10 at 10. Our continued mission is to share business information and life information to help business owners keep moving forward. And here with another one of my referral partners, Miss Alice Shikina. Thanks for being on, Alice.
Thanks for having me.
Share with us some information about effective communication. Because, listen, there are so many situations where I know I speak a lot, but there are a lot of times when I just kind of trip up on myself. If I'm angry, if I'm too happy, if I'm too nervous, and like how to get past like all of that. And so we're just going to have a conversation about effective communication, because effective communication evidently is not just with your spouse only. Alice, share with us, introduce yourself to the audience and our topic today.
Great. Hi, everyone. I'm Alice Yuko Shikina. I'm a mediator. I work a lot with landlord and tenants when they have a lot of issues, as well as people who are divorcing. I also work with nonprofit board members when they're fighting and they can't get their mission, and everyone is like stalling because they're so angry with each other and they're sabotaging each other's work. I get in there and I try to like untangle all the communication, all of the misunderstandings that are happening, and I get that worked out to a place where they can continue moving forward. So nice. I work a lot with really confused communication, and my job is to basically straighten that out and get people going again. And I enjoy doing what I do, and I really enjoy helping people moving forward.
So Alice, how long have you been doing this?
I've been mediating for about 5 years now, and all kinds of different capacities.
Okay, because whenever we talk about it, we see each other for coffee. We see each other every Tuesday also. And, you're always so excited about what you do and just helping your folks and everything. So I always love like speaking to you about like what you're doing and, what's going on. Tell us, because I have a general idea of what a mediator does, but I sometimes I'm not exactly sure what the role is. Are they working with an attorney? Are both parties getting one? What is the role of a mediator exactly?
A mediator is a neutral party. So I am neither on one side or the other. And I am there to basically make sure that the communication is clear, concise, efficient, and there can be lawyers on both sides. I've worked in all different capacities where sometimes there are two lawyers, one on either side. Sometimes there's a lawyer on one side and no lawyer on the other side. And sometimes there are no lawyers at all, right? So it can be any of these. But my main job is not to be a legal advisor, okay? So even if there are a lot of attorney mediators, and even attorney mediators should not be giving legal advice when they're working as a mediator. As a mediator, you should be a neutral party, and you should be just helping both sides communicate so that they can understand each other. I also make sure that misunderstandings are cleared up. I can see them happening right in the middle of the air. When someone speaks, I can see the reaction of the other person, and I can already tell that they're misunderstanding what's being said. And so I will repeat what I think I heard, and then make sure with that first party that that's exactly what they said. And then typically the other side understands once I've said it.
Hey, Alice, are you there?
Yes. Can you see me?
Alice, if you can hear me, close out all the way and come back in and see us.
Okay, hang on.
Okay. So one of the topics that we were going to have a discussion about today was, not just about spouses or partnerships, but, also like a bad employee as well. Is there something that you can do about that? Is there things that you should be speaking to them about before things get too bad? Clients who haven't paid you before you go to court, are there things that you should have been doing ahead of schedule leading up to this point? How do you close your contract exactly? Are you uncomfortable as you're communicating with your new and potential clients? Things that you should be saying to them. Again, hopefully Alice will come right back in. Good, she's going out and coming back in. And so, well, something, let's keep rolling on this until Alice comes back. See, this again, the beauty of Facebook Live. This is our live show. You never know what's going to happen, whether it's wireless issues or whatever. People are going to pop out and pop back in. And
can you see me?
I can see you now. You're back. So I was telling everyone that communication is not just about the spouses and partnerships, but it could also include that bad employee that sometimes we think they're bad, but maybe it's just us not effectively communicating to them. We're going to also dive into a little bit about like getting paid by our clients as well and closing out our deals, but before we even go there, we started having a discussion about the role of a mediator. So I really want to roll right back to that question. What is the role of a mediator in the whole process? So it's gotten contentious. We're now in court. Where do we go from there when we're using a mediator?
Basically, my job is to be the neutral party. So I am not on either side. And I'm there to make sure I support clear communication, efficient communication, so that everyone can understand each other. I also fix any sort of misunderstandings. So if I see that there's a misunderstanding happening, which I can see literally in midair, I will course correct, definitely. I can see when someone is saying something and the other side is bristling and getting upset, and I can understand right away that they're not understanding what's being said. So I pause it and I say, hang on a second. Let me make sure that everyone's understanding everyone. This is what I'm hearing. And I'll repeat the first person's words and, make it my own and say, is that what you were trying to communicate? And they say yes. And then the other person can hear it a little bit more clearly.
Sometimes when you're angry, you're just not hearing anything, are you?
And it's sometimes easier to hear it from a third party, an outside party, right? As opposed to the person that you're upset with.
No, I get it. I'm there right now. I'm in that land right now. How would someone go about choosing a great mediator for themselves?
There's several places to look. You can look online. You can look at the different nonprofit organizations that offer it. But you want to make sure that the most important thing is that you have rapport with the mediator. Yeah. Both sides should feel comfortable because it's a very intimate conversation, extremely vulnerable and extremely intimate. So you want to make sure that the person, hang on a second. Sorry about
Hello.
You want to make sure that person, you can trust your mediator, that they're not being judgmental, that they are supportive of you, emotionally supportive of you, and that sort of thing. So that's how you want to choose your mediator.
Does both sides get to choose, or is it just one person making a suggestion and then there's an agreement from there?
Both sides have to agree to the mediator.
Okay. Yeah. And there are no lawyers involved in this, are there?
It depends, right? You can do mediation with both lawyers. You can do mediation with a lawyer on one side and no lawyer on the other side. Or you can have people divorce and they don't want to hire any attorneys and they'll just hire a mediator so they can work everything with the mediator. So there are ways to do it. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay. And so from all of your experience and everything that you've seen, because I know you've seen a lot over the 5 years and beyond that as well, are there any tips about communication, like things that you're seeing, or before we even get into any tips, examples of things that you're seeing that we can course correct? We had this conversation about bad employees earlier, because that would really relate to my business owners. What can you do to help a business owner navigate a bad employee?
Great question. Number one, don't go into a conversation with someone while you are still angry. Okay, so that's super important. If someone has done something to upset you at work, take a day, take 2 or 3 days, however long it takes for you to calm down before you engage in a conversation with that employee or coworker or what have you, or even business partner, before you approach them. Because when you're in the midst of anger, the other person is going to sense your anger and then they become defensive, right? Mm-hmm. So then that already starts to break down the communication process, because now you have one person who's angry And
I know. Listen, I've had a client that I was working with, and I didn't get the employee at all. I'm like, what is happening right now? I have to woosah a little bit before I say anything because I'm not sure if this person gets that we're here to work, you know? And sometimes you're on your track doing this, but you don't know what's going on with someone else and what's going on in their lives, right? So
right.
sometimes you have to roll back a little bit.
And your choice of words will be different if you're not angry, right? Yeah. When you're angry, you'll speak in a totally different tone and use totally different words than when you're not.
I remember there was a scene from, oh God, of course, I'm bringing up the movie, I'm forgetting A League of Her Own, where she was crying and he was trying to calm himself down and he's just, there's no, oh, and he's like, okay, tomorrow. It's like, and everyone was like really uncomfortable by the smile, but he was trying so best to like not strangle her.
Exactly. So that would be like number one tip.
Number one tip. Absolutely. And what's your number two tip for us?
Number two tip, this is really obvious and I know everyone knows it, but it's a very good reminder. Don't call names, please. Whatever you do in any argument with your business colleagues, with your spouse, with your children, like and particularly please don't use the word liar or you're lying.
Damn it. Fine.
It's a trigger for everyone. It doesn't do anything but like basically feed the fire of the other person. It's like pouring oil into the fire. So it's best if you just don't name call at all.
Fine, Alice. Okay, I won't do any name calling. What's our next one?
Don't disparage, right? Don't disparage the other person's training, their background, their past work experience. If it's a spouse, don't disparage their parents or family. It just, again, doesn't do anything at all except fuel the fire, and it causes anger in the other person. Again, this is a very common sense thing, but I do feel like when people are upset, I see it happen over and over and over again. People do it all the time. You know, they bring up their whatever points that they're not happy with. When it's brought up, it makes them very upset.
Yeah, it's, again, I'm going through it right now, so I'm trying to woosah a little bit better, but of course you're like, all the build up because you've tried to be the better person, and now you're like, okay, but if I strangle you, so calm down and really kind of. Actually, I love the first tip which was don't engage in anger, kind of back off a little bit, because of course you're just not clear on your thoughts as well. And you may be losing out in the process. I mean, especially if it's a business relationship, right? You're blurting off at the mouth and losing on the pocketbook at the end of it, so sometimes just kind of calming down first and walking away, a couple of days or so before you sit down might be I really like that one, Well,
the too is if you're not angry, you have a wider range of problem solving available to you, right? Because when you're upset, that problem solving part of your brain is not engaged. It's the emotional part of your brain that's being engaged. So once you calm down, you can probably problem solve a little bit better, and then you can determine how you would like to solve the issue that you have with this person. And also you might want to engage in a dialogue with the other person to problem solve together. So as opposed to you coming to the table saying, here are the options that I have, you might discuss options together and discuss after you've brainstormed all the ideas, which ones may work for both of you, and talk them through and then implement an action plan.
I love that. Our item number 4.
Leave the past in the past. So if you want to talk about something you're upset about yesterday, don't bring up, oh, well, you did the same thing last month, and I know that you did this to the other colleague 3 months ago. Don't bring up all of that. Stick to the subject matter that you're upset about and stay focused on that. People have a tendency to pile on. It muddies the water, it muddies the communication, and it actually hinders your ability to resolve the one issue that you're trying to talk about.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, I know I can tell, again, all of these things are like practical things that, again, in the heat of the moment, we just forget and become kindergartners,
Yeah.
you know, which is sometimes so much fun. It's like, but, you know, of course, you're not looking at what you're losing in the process, right? You're just going out for this moment right now. But, you know, in the meantime, you're destroying a spousal relationship, a friendship, you know, a business relationship without realizing it, you know?
Yep.
And what do you have for us on the number 5? I mean, what else should we be?
The most important thing is to be reflective. And I don't mean reflect on yourself. I mean, when you sit down and speak to someone. So Paula, if you could, let's just do an interactive dialogue here. Just tell me something that you're upset about and we can do a quick role play.
I am so upset that I did not get my yoga workout this morning because of you, Alice.
Okay, great. This is how I should speak back to you. So I should take an extra moment before I say, hey, I didn't mean to interrupt your day, this and that. I should say, Paula, so I understand that because of my actions, you missed your yoga class and that you're very upset about that. Is that right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. And I'm really sorry that you feel that way. And I'm sorry that the things that I did caused you to feel that way.
Can I tell you, that just calmed me down just now.
Magic.
because now you're hearing yourself as well, coming from the other person. And of course, the questions that they're teeing you up with are really just kind of, is that right? Is that what we're doing? Okay.
So always reflect what the other person is saying to you. Make sure that you're verbalizing it and make sure that you're understanding them correctly before you even begin your side.
Oh,
right?
Wow.
So if you do that, that will like ease the tension from the other party. And I think that will get you into a place where you can both talk in a very healthy and constructive way.
Wow. I do like that one. I think I'll be using that one quite a bit, you know, because even when you're sitting down, come to think of it, with a client, and just going through basics, you're about to close a contract, going through, so Alice, I want to make sure that I'm clear, you know, I understand that these are, you want X, Y, and Z, just to clarify. Also, I'm hearing this as well, you know, and that, because of course you hear, you're reflecting them as well, and it pulls them into it. Because, you know, of course, with any contracts or anything like that, they're about to sign something, they're about to pay for something. They want to make sure that they're understanding and getting everything right. And so it's just a nice way of communicating to them that I'm hearing you, this is what we're going to do, this is what we're going to move forward with. So to me, that's just a small thing, and it's not even a contentious relationship, you know, but letting someone know that you hear them, you know?
And I think that you shouldn't shy away. If you hear them saying that they're hesitating because of price, talk about it.
Yeah.
If I'm hearing that you're hesitating, you want to talk more about why, talk more about your fear, talk more about like, what can I do to alleviate that fear? Don't be afraid.
Yeah. Well, what about, you know, I think we kind of had a conversation about this earlier, but, you know, you're having a problem with a client who hasn't paid you, you know, and oftentimes I'm hearing other business owners, it sounds to me like there's a huge communication issue that happened. I mean, granted, they're always going to be just plain bad clients, you know, but it sounds to me like there's some miscommunication there. What's your thoughts on that?
Absolutely. You know, first you should try to reach out to them. And before you move into litigation, if you can't reach them, always consider mediation. It's going to be a lot faster than a litigation, than a lawsuit. It will be a lot cheaper. And you can just have the mediator try to call the other side and say, look, you know, Paula really wants to resolve this issue. She's been trying to reach out to you. I'm a mediator. I'm calling. I'm happy to be a neutral party and help you guys resolve this. So you can always get a mediator involved in any sort of dispute like that. If you can't get a hold of them, you can always try to engage, find a mediator that you like and trust, and then have them call the other side to see if they can get them interested in mediation. Typically, they, it's just been a misunderstanding, miscommunication, and they're afraid to talk to you directly. So it's always helpful to have a neutral party there.
Okay. All right. I actually, it's talking about businesses and how running your business. I just learned a really great one for communicating recently because, sometimes when I'm so focused on getting the work done, I'm getting the work done. And I started realizing that maybe I wasn't listening to others within the group, within the circle. And so instead of, okay, that's nice, let's move on to this, I started adding and also, which actually I got from the, there's a show on YouTube that give her props, the Marie Forleo show. I really love it. And someone had written a book and they were interviewing them. And one of the things that they said was, of course, using your thought, Alice, was with verbiage. Listen to your verbiage. That's great. And also, let's consider this as well. Let's try this as well, so that they know that their point's being validated. I found that it was a simple addition that really made such a world of difference to my team as I was speaking to them, and how they felt validated, so that they don't become bad employees, right?
Right. And I would love to leave you the one last final tip about how to do active listening with your colleagues.
Okay.
I would get to do like a weekly practice where you sit down and let someone talk to you for 2 minutes, and you just sit there and all you do is listen. It's called active listening. And then when they're finished, for you to repeat back exactly what they said back to them.
Oh, I love that.
See how good you are. As
listening. I'm writing that one down as a reminder to the viewers today. Active listening. So every day, 2 minutes. Over how long a period of time would you suggest?
You can do it every day or every week, but it's a skill, it's a muscle. And so the more you practice it, the better you get at it. So you can just have it as something that you guys do on just a regular basis, whatever, that's your choice. But the people that you work with regularly, sit down and have a 2 minutes where they talk and you repeat back, and then you talk for 2 minutes and they repeat back what they hear.
I love that.
Yeah. So it's like a 8-minute long exercise. So even once a week, it's fine. But I think if you practice it on a regular basis, your communication will get better and better because you get to become a stronger, active listener.
Well, something, I have a question for you though, because I've been trying to practice variations of this. I didn't give myself a time limit, which I probably should have as well, because I just really started. But how do you stop the other person? Because you want to be respectful, right? Because you really want to hear them. But you're realizing that, and really at the end of the day, I'm also realizing that sometimes they just need to speak, and so I just back off and just let them go because they're, again, bigger issue going on. But how do you do a break in the middle of it, especially if you want to have them speak for 2 minutes and then you rebuttal for 2 minutes? I mean, because
so when the timer goes off, they know they need to stop, even if it's mid-thought.
Okay, so it is literally a practice between the two of you. So you're putting your timer on and you're practicing together. Okay, all right, I can do that. I can dig it.
Timer goes off, mid-sentence, finish your sentence, and your time is up.
Nice. Okay. All right. I can think of a couple of people we can do that with. Active listening. I love it.
I want to hear back from you, Paula. I want to hear.
Oh my God. All right. I'll do it. Well, I'm with my family right now, and usually we're like so excited to see each other. Everyone's and it's all with love and everything, but it's like you realize, it's like, I'm sorry, what did you just say?
Exactly. You weren't actively listening.
Weren't actively listening. All I know is that I love you. It's like, but wait a second. I think you just said something important. Wait, I said this. Oh, okay. It's like, but it definitely, my family could take a tip from that one because we're so spread out as a family, and so you're trying so hard to like create these moments, and that you just have to work on it, right? So you have to put time in to see each other. But of course, when we finally see each other, it's like
Exactly.
Yeah. It's like way too excited. We're Jamaicans. We cannot help ourselves. that's just it, So Alice, I feel like, especially with you and I, it's like we've been threatening a one-to-one, so we definitely need to just make that happen. Thank you so much for being on today. It's like, all the tips, again, intuitive things that I think we should know, but in the heat of the moment, when you're in the middle of the sludge, it's just you're missing all of these things, aren't you? And yeah. I love what you said about active listening, especially if you're working in the 5 tips that you gave, which I'm just going to repeat really quickly. Don't engage while angry, no name calling, don't disparage, leave the past in the past, and reflect the other person. Plus this active listening tip that you've given us, I think it really would make a world of difference when you're finally in the sludge, because it's going to happen as a business owner, right? I love it. Yeah. And tell us, how can we find you? I know that you're doing a couple of seminars around town. You just got featured. Yes. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
And when's the next seminar you want to share with our folks if they want to reach out and connect with you?
I don't have the seminar set up quite yet. I'm still working on that, but they can find me at alice.shikina@gmail.com, and they can check out my website, aliceshikina.com, and check out all my Yelp reviews, because a lot of people that I mediate with have been very, very satisfied. And so they have expressed as much on Yelp. So yeah.
Perfect. So if they want to and are you on LinkedIn, by the way?
Yes, I am.
Perfect. And so everyone, please reach out if you have any other questions for Alice, or if you guys are in the market. Hopefully you won't. It's one of those things where, Alice is wonderful and lovely, but I'm hoping that you don't have to be in a situation where you'll need it. But please reach out to Alice on LinkedIn if you need to. Her website, you'll see more information. I'll drop it in the drop down after the show's over. So if you want to connect with her. Again, everyone, this has been another episode of 10 at 10, where our continued mission is to share great business and life information to help your businesses keep moving forward. Thank you so much for always supporting us. We're going to be here every Thursday at 10 a.m., of course, Pacific Standard Time, 1 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, because I'm on the East Coast today. But please check us out, and please share the information with your friends. These are just kind of basic things that, of course, all my referral partners, they know hard and cold, because these are their businesses. And I want to make sure they grab those little tips and offer it to you guys. So if you want to reach out to them, please feel free. Thanks again for tuning in. Thank you so much, Alice. Hang out for a little bit, and I'll speak to you guys soon. Take care. Bye, everyone.